Hello, receiving students and teachers and ATs. Thank you. You may sit down. Teachers, we are still on the same strand, living teens, substrand, ecology, relationship, and interactions. Our lessons topic for today is food web. So today we'll be looking at food web, and we'll be using our food chain that we constructed in our last lesson. So that food chain will be used as our activity in today's lesson. Before we go through our today's lesson, let's go back to food chain. In food chain, what did we learn about food chain? Let's have some answers from our friends in group 1. We'll have Rachel. Recent students, you may also answer to your teacher and the class. Anyone want to help? Thank you. Our friend here.
In food chain, all living things depend on each other.
What else did you see or did you find out from the food chain that you created? So if you have your chart with you, go look at your chart and what can you tell us about the food chain? Thank you, Winnie.
Producer and consumer.
Producers and consumers. Right. We looked at producers and consumers. So let's have a look at our producers and consumers. The picture that we looked at yesterday, we'll have a look at the picture of the food chain again. So we have the plant, which is a palm leaf, the caterpillar, and the spider. Who can tell me which is a producer, a herbivore, and a carnivore? We'll have first stand up. Abby?
Producers are the palm leaves. Herbivore is the caterpillar and carnivore is the spider.
Any others with a different answer? Okay, let's see. We have producer. Like she said, it's the palm leaf. And the herbivore, which is a caterpillar. And the carnivore, the spider. Which of these is a consumer? Fiona. Fiona, thank you.
Caterpillar and spider.
Caterpillar and spider, let's see. Producer still produces. Our consumers is the herbivores, which is the caterpillar, and carnivores, which is also a consumer. Why do we say producers? Or plants are producers? Why do we say plants are producers? Any other students with answers? Okay. Lisa? Come on, boys. The girls are answering.
Because plants produce food.
Because plants produce food. What about animals? Do they produce food? Oh, they produce food. What do animals produce? Fiona. And then we'll have Habi. What do animals produce?
Meat.
Meat. Same. They produce meat. Okay. Yes, they produce meat, but how can they make meat? Because if they are alive, can we eat them? We cannot eat them unless they are dead, or we kill them, hunt them, and then we can have it as meat. But if they are alive, can we eat meat? No. So do they produce food? I'm asking you again, do they produce food? Who is still does not agree? Anyone does not agree? Let's have a look at our food chain. Plants, look at your food chain. Plants are producers because they make their own food. And in order for animals to eat, they must, in order for animals to live and to grow, they must eat plants. If animals make their own food, then they should not eat plants. They will eat themselves because they will eat meat. But they cannot produce their own food. So they eat plants. And in turn, other animals also eat other animals. Any question? Anyone still not sure? Right. We'll go to our activity today. Remember your group that you worked with yesterday. Group 1 and 2, you worked on the Habitat River. Group 3 and 4, you worked on the Habitat Forest. 5 and 6, you worked on the Habitat the Sea. 7 and 8, you worked on the Flower Garden. Group 9 was the pond. And those of you who decided to work on the old garden, if you changed your habitat. Okay, one group. So you remember your groups and the habitat you worked on. This is what you're going to do in your activity today. On the habitats that you worked on, the two groups that you worked on, group 1 and 2 on river, you will go together. Group 1 and 2, you will go together. 3 and 4, you do the same, you go together. 5 and 6, you go together. And with the food chains that you have created from our last lesson, you put those food chains together, or you will make a food web. So you will work in those groups from yesterday, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and so on. So this is what you're going to do. Your activity instruction, receiving students. You create a food web from the food chains you have with you, or the one that you created in your last lesson. Right, let's move group 1 and 2. You will have about 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, when you have compiled your food chain, you will, food web, we will have each group to present the construction of the food web. And this is what you're going to look at when you're constructing the food web. During your activity, you will discuss and find which organisms are producers, herbivores, and carnivores. If you need help, you may raise your hands. Any questions? All right, let's begin. Group 1 and 2, you may go together. Okay, 3 and 4. You can, since you can move the table together. You can move your tables together.
That means producer produces
Shirana.
energy outside of us.
No.
other animals. So, for example, like human beings, do they eat only animals? They also eat plants. There are also other animals like what animals? Who can tell me one? Spider. Wallaby eat plant, yeah. Cassowary. If you do not have those animals, you can create a new food web on the paper that I just gave. So, but from your examples and others that you can include on the food web. Attention. The food web is a very complicated feeding relation. So if you see on a food chain, you may have some animals and some plants there. You can, but look at your food chain and try to identify some organisms. Not all organisms eat only plants, and not all organisms eat only plants, and not all animals eat meat. So try to find the connection between the organisms. Chain, habitat, forest. If you can think of some other more organisms in the forest, you can add on. Otherwise, you can. You have the same ones. Are there any other organisms? You sure? Can you add some more? Okay, now let's see. Let's put the last consumer. Who would be the last consumer? Some people do see. Or some people eat. Okay. Let's have a look at this. The eels feed on prawns. Change the arrow. This one's supposed to go up again. change it, if you want to change the arrows up this way, like this.
Yeah.
So what does this arrow tell you and what this arrow?
This one said is different, but crocodile
Crocodile can eat eel.
yes. And eel eats fish eat prawns and prawns eat water.
Okay, the flow, this means it's the flow of energy, and also what is eaten by the prawns. So the prawns here feeds on this. So these plants are eaten by the prawns, which is then eaten by the fish. This energy flows from here to the prawns, to the fish, and this way. For activity? For activity or for the whole, for the lesson? Whole lesson. Yes, in some countries people do eat seaweed, and even some of our people here to eat seaweed. Okay, we've got less time, so. Okay. Okay, give me.
There are many possible answers. Students tend to understand there is only one possible answer, one correct answer.
I start with the example. Sama example sekarang. Garing tulis niya. Cat. Man. right, I'm sorry, but I will have to stop you. So if you do not finish, you complete that and I'll collect it tomorrow. Okay, but we'll go try. I hope you have done the same thing. Okay. May I have your attention? I believe you are working on it well, and that if you have not finished, you may complete that as part of your homework and go through it in your next lesson. But before we conclude, let's have a look at what I have just put up on the whiteboard, an example of what a habitat that we might find in our area. So we have a garden habitat. Now I have few animals, few organisms here. Few organisms on the board. Let's have this group here to come and show us which it's which on these organisms here. We have cabbage, we have snail, we have caterpillar, bird, human, grasshopper, spider. Cabbage, sorry, C, not garbage. Cabbage in the garden. Sorry for the spelling error. Now, cabbage. Who can eat cabbage? Which organisms here will eat cabbage? The caterpillar? Do we have a black marker? Okay. Wait, thank you. Cabbage. What else? Human being can eat cabbage. Yes. Human being eats cabbage. What else? Let's have one at the Juanita.
Grasshopper.
Grasshopper. Grasshopper eats cabbage. Ella?
Birds.
Birds. What does bird eat? Bird eats cabbage. Some birds eat plants too. Fiona. Let's have some answers from that side.
Snail,
What does snail eat?
cabbage,
Snail eat cabbage. What about our spider here? Our spider. What does the spider eat? The spider eats the caterpillar. Fiona?
Bird eat grasshopper.
Birds eat grasshopper. What arrow? Which arrow? Yes, please tell me. Correct me. Which arrow? This arrow. This way? Okay, we'll come back. Iowa?
Humans eat bed.
Humans eat bed. Okay, we'll have the last one.
Bird eat caterpillar.
Good. Bird eats caterpillar. The last one, Christine.
Birds eat snail.
Very good. Birds eat snail. Okay, let's have a look at our food web. Anything else? Birds eat spider. Birds eat spider. So our spider also comes here. Okay. My arrows. Is it wrong? Okay, let's see. Birds eat the spider. We have caterpillar eats spider. Our arrow here tells us that caterpillar eats spider. Does caterpillar eat spider? Can it eat spider? No, so our arrow should be pointing this way, meaning spider eats the caterpillar. So this is an example of a food web in a garden habitat. And I believe you have constructed your food web. If you have not completed, we will complete that in our extra time. So let's get up, put our things away, get ready for our summary. Our summary for today's lesson, we have only one summary point, and it is food web consists of several food chains. Write our key. Write our keyword. Habi.
Food web.
Very good. Our keyword is food web. Teachers, our next lesson topic will be on uses of biodegradable materials. And the materials which you will need to provide for the lessons are samples of decomposing matter. Students, you may also help your teacher to, if you find that, you may also bring that for your lesson. With that, thank you. 8E, and thank you receiving students and teachers.